Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Monday, 7:55 in the morning, May 27th. Happy Memorial Day. Baseball, 1 o'clock start today for Memorial Day. I hope if you're watching this, you've all gotten off, right? You should have off today. It's Memorial Day. Thank you for your service if you are watching this. Thank you for all that you have done for us. If that means something to you, somebody in your family, make sure to thank them today, even if you have a bad relationship with that person. The things that they've gone through, the sacrifices that they've made, even if it doesn't seem like they went to a war or battled for us, just the ability to be that brave, to actually be willing to do it, is something that deserves a thank you and more than that, but it's the least that we can do. So make sure you thank that person today. So thank you, everybody, for your service if you're somebody who's watching this, or your potential service if you are currently awaiting. So thank you so much. Let's get into some baseball today. My name is Sal Vetcher. I cover daily fantasy sports and really all the major sports. WNBA going to be rolling out in about a week, more so some WNBA content once I have some stats for this season to go off of and feel confident behind. Golf as well, so some other sports as well. We're going to do MLB today. A nice 10-game Memorial Day starting at 1. Nice barbecue. Hopefully it's good weather where you are, and if it's not, don't let it ruin your day. You got some baseball. You got a house or an apartment hopefully, and grill some stuff up on the stovetop. Make some burgers, do some things there. So have a good day today. Let's get down into it. Like button if you can right now. And look, it's starts of the week. Monday is my favorite day. It's another day to tackle the week. If you like my content, do me a favor. Pause this video real quick. I know it's starting. Go over, open a new browser, whatever it might be, or try later. Chris Pinnell makes content similar to mine. And here's the thing that I want to point out on his channel, really. 758 subscribers. There's going to be, I don't know, we get a lot more views on NBA because it's the finals, I get it. But however many of you see this video today, if we can somehow get Chris, if not today would be incredible, to 1,000, where he can start to monetize his videos. So make money off of the hard work that he's doing. Not make money in your expense or at your expense. Make money by YouTube paying him because he's done such a good job. So 758 subscribers. He's about 240 away. I'm subscribed. You should subscribe. So please just go over there, help him out. Look, I'm not getting anything for this. It's just a kind gesture because I know how hard that I had to work to get to this point. And he's working his tail off doing MLB videos like this one. Check out his after this and then just subscribe. Doing golf, NASCAR videos. He's the NASCAR guy. So check him out. He's another kid. I believe he's in college as well. Similar to my videos, the way that you go about it with data sheets, things like that. I think that you would enjoy it. I wouldn't just recommend somebody I don't like. I wouldn't tell you to go subscribe to a competitor's channel if I didn't really like what the guy was doing. So check him out. Maybe we can get him there today. Be a good start to his week as well. But let's break into this, right? So let's have a little bit of fun with this stuff. Let's see. I can make this a little bit bigger for everybody. Thumbs up button if we can. Thumbs up button. NBA final starts Thursday. MLB today. So 10-game slate. Adding a little things as we go. Another thing I'll point out is this sheet. Like yesterday, I was at the beach. I took a vacation day. I wanted to make videos, but this sheet will always be up on Patreon. You can get access to some other things on Patreon. I have coaching now, so I changed the whole Patreon page around. A lot more things here. The NBA projections that I use, pitcher sheet, some golf sheets, and then there's coaching. You can have access to everything. So just some other ways for me to monetize without really, some other ways for me to monetize my content and the stuff that I do without really overcharging. It's really cheap. It's like $7 for projections, things like that. So I'm going to have a hitter sheet as well. That's going to be coming in the next week or two now that we have a ton of data to go from. So what do I like today? Let's just break it down. Let's have a quick video. Let's have a fun video. Like button, all that stuff. Who's your favorite pitcher on the slate in the mid-range is what I want to know in the comments. That's our question of the day. Who in the mid-range, so 7,000 to 9,000 is your favorite pitcher? Because that's, I believe, where potentially an option is, but I don't know if I get there on this slate. So Jared Cole, starting it all off. I don't think I get to much Jared Cole today. Most expensive pitcher on the slate, $11,300. Look, we know he's great. We know his strikeout stuff, and before his last start or two when he's been struggling, has been some of the best strikeout stuff and some of the best stuff on the year. It speaks for itself. His strikeout percentage is ridiculous, right? 36, 37%, depending on where you look. He still does give up power to righties, though, and that's the thing that worries me. You're going to be going up in what is a bit of a pitcher's-friendly ballpark here, but you're going up against a team in Chicago who has the second highest ISO on the slate, only behind Houston, the team that he's facing. Yeah, his win percentage at minus 194 odds, you can see right here. He's a pretty big favorite today, but $11,300 for a guy that I don't really trust in this matchup. I trust him overall, but in this matchup, no. There's other guys in the slate, if we're talking about this not being just a vacuum, choosing between Jarrett Cole or some guys in the bottom end, but we have other high-tier options. I like them more. He is not getting a lot of ground balls. He is giving up a little more fly balls than I like. Giving up fly balls is all well and fine, but if you're giving them up at a decent clip and now you're facing a team who has a great ISO, especially from the right-handed side where most of their hitters will be, 5 guys in this lineup today, if not 6 with some switch hitters for the Cubs, should be batting righty. Yeah, that worries me. So Jared Cole at this price point, I'm not sure I really want it. 0.203, second highest in the slate, like I said, ISO for the Cubs. I'm going to avoid that and go to the guy who I think it's no surprise, and I think he gets some of the highest ownership on the slate in Max Scherzer. $11,100, $200 cheaper than Cole. Look, he's facing Miami. Miami has been hitting actually quite decent as of late. You got Cooper, who finally decided that he knew how to hit home runs, hitting 2 in the last week. You have Brian Anderson hitting 3 in the past week after combined, the two of them had like 3 on the year, and now they have 5 in the last week. So don't know where those steroids came from, or that juice came from them. But I'm not worried about it. Max Scherzer, one of the most premier pitchers in the league. This is as big as a spread in terms of favorites you're going to see. Minus 310 in baseball is when a premier pitcher faces a really bad team. So that's pretty indicated by what it is right here. So his win upside, his extra 4 points on DraftKings and whatever it is on FanDuel, is pretty much through the roof. So for $11,100 for the matchup compared to a Jared Cole, yeah, I love it. And I like Max Scherzer today regardless. Look, the ballpark's not that great for him, right? But Miami, again, a team that doesn't have pop. Their ISO, especially compared to Chicago, is the lowest on the slate at .093. Now, this is coming up a little bit, especially if they're hitting home runs. But I like it. They have a higher strikeout percentage, right around average for the slate, but they strike out more than Chicago does. Max Scherzer strikeout stuff, we know it. I don't have to really describe how nasty his stuff is and how much of an elite pitcher he is. If anything that gives him trouble, it's a little bit from the left-handed side, but that's still about average in terms of league average, in terms of the ISO given up from the left-handed side. And really that's because of the smaller sample size, so it could be a little bit more volatile. Scherzer, compared to this slate, gets hit around average, if not a little bit above average. He's giving up a decent amount of fly balls, nothing to worry about. Does not give up a lot of walks, does not give up a lot of home runs. That's the thing right there. The negatives, the things in walks that you just lose fantasy points for the other team not doing anything. The home runs that lose even more fantasy points for you and can really just get a pitcher yanked or the win upside goes down. He's not doing either of those things. Look, he's 11,100. He's Max Scherzer. He's facing the Marlins. Wow. The Marlins. He should really not be overthought here. It's going to be chalk, but I don't think you get away from it on a 10-game slate. I think the ownership will balance out enough to where that's where I'm going if I'm spending up. If you said, Sal, I need a GPP pivot option in the high range, I don't want to go for that chalk. Well, I'd choose Luis Castillo over Jared Cole. Look, the matchup's better for him. He's in a ballpark that is more so hitter-friendly, sure, but he's facing a team that doesn't have a lot of power. And Castillo, even though he pitched really bad last time he was out, or I believe it was last weekend. He didn't pitch that well, or Thursday. It was an afternoon game, yeah. He didn't pitch that well, but he still doesn't give up power from either side of the plate. He still has around a 30% K rate, which is really good. He's not giving up hard hit contact, which is why the power's not there. He's walking guys, and that's where he got in trouble in the last start. Bases loaded like in the first or second inning, walked a couple of guys. But he's facing a team that doesn't have power, so it kind of isolates out this good pitcher's ballpark. Team he's facing doesn't strike out a lot in Pittsburgh. So it's sort of a safer play. If his stuff is on and he's the guy who's dominating these batters who don't strike out, well then yeah, he's going to be in the 20s for fantasy points. And at 10-7, I like that pivot away from Scherzer. If you're telling me you want a pivot off of Scherzer between Cole and Castillo, I'd probably go Castillo. Not only for the savings, but I think the matchup's better. And overall, I just think the fact that he's not facing a team with the second highest ISO on the slate in a ballpark where they can take advantage of him. So I like Castillo as a pivot. Overall, I'm going Scherzer, and I'm not going to be able to fit both of these guys in with the stacks that I want. Continuing to go down, we'll cover through the 9K range in a little bit of depth. Chris Bassett, look, there's no odds out yet for this game. There's no odds out as I shoot this at 8 o'clock in the morning for either of these games. I don't want any Chris Bassett. I don't know how you could possibly want Chris Bassett against the Angels today. Look, Chris Bassett would be a safe option, but he's $9,400. He's the fourth most expensive. I don't want to pay for I should rephrase that. He's not a safe option against LA. On most days, he would be a safe option if he had neutral matchups, right? His ERA shows that he's getting a little bit lucky compared to his SIERA, minus 1.34. And what that means is that he's getting lucky. If the SIERA is not close to the ERA, he's getting lucky. Although the SIERA is still fine, nothing to worry about. But he's a guy who walks batters. He's a guy who gives up home runs and fly ball percentages. Not giving up a lot of hard hit contact, but when you give up a lot of fly balls, the ones that do get hit hard are probably going out of the ballpark. So that's why you see an elevated home run per 9 number. He does strike out guys. He has a decent strikeout percentage. He's not lacking there. The problem is the Angels don't strike out. 17.4% team strikeout percentage. Who is he going to strike out on this team? Probably nobody. So most days he's a nice safe type of option if it's a standard team because he strikes guys out. Yes, he gives up some home runs, but he can get into games. We've seen him go to the 7th to the 8th, like 3 over 4 starts. But he's not going to strike out guys today, and he's facing a team that does have some pop, an above average ISO on this slate. Yes, it's in a pitcher's friendly ballpark, so that's all fun and well. But $9,400, I'm not paying for a guy who the upside in fantasy is one, getting wins, which I imagine it might not be favored in this game. Who's pitching for LA today? Felix Pena. So maybe they are favored. One, getting wins. But two, the biggest thing, getting strikeouts and going deep into games. If you're not getting strikeouts here and you're walking guys, it's really hard to go deep into games that really accumulate fantasy points. So Chris Bassett, I'm going to X him off for me. Right now, out of these first 4, all I want is Max Scherzer. That's it. And you're going to see a trend with that. Cole Hamels, 9,200. Look, he's we already talked. He's going up against Jarrett Cole, a good pitcher's battle here, I guess you can say. But his win upside just isn't there. And he's facing the team with the highest ISO on the slate. I don't want it. I don't even think I need to get there. The second lowest strikeout percentage, only behind those Angels, is Houston. The highest ISO. This is just not a good spot. Look, nobody should be owning Cole Hamels today. He can go out there, he can pitch a gem in 7 innings because he still has decent stuff. Still is a top 1 or 2 pitcher, probably more so a 2 pitcher on a team. I just don't want any Cole Hamels against this Houston team. I don't think you need to put your money behind that. And not for 9,200. For a guy who's not striking out as many guys as he once was. Not getting hit hard, at least from the left-handed side, which there's some lefties in this Astros lineup. But I think it balances out when you consider it's the goddamn Astros, the best offense in baseball, where the top 3 to 4 guys in the lineup are all batting like .330 with 15-plus home runs. It's ridiculous. So don't give me any of that. So 9K and above, all I like is Max Scherzer. And I don't even feel the need to try and force into anything else. So this is where it starts to get a little bit froggy on the slate for me, because I'm starting to tell myself, wait, I might have to just take a shot here in the lower end and then pay up on bats as well. Because the mid-range is not attractive either. You have a game in Coors Field with Zach Greinke and John Gray on the mound. I really don't want to target that when you tell me that the Rockies at home are obviously a great team in terms of ISO, but Arizona coming in there has a lot of pop as well. And neither of those teams strike out a lot. So, yeah, Zach Greinke and John Gray, I really don't want either, especially in Coors Field once again. Matt Strahm against the Yankees. Do I really want to go there for $8,500 for a guy whose SIERA is 4.33? The ERA makes him look nice, but he's, again, a top 5 pitcher in terms of how lucky he's getting based on that differential between SIERA and ERA. He's a guy who doesn't walk a lot, doesn't give up a lot of home runs, so that's good. He's in a ballpark now, though, where home runs are going to be coming in a decent amount. Not as much probably as your Coors Field, or definitely not, but Yankee Stadium, home runs are going to be coming. And the bad thing about Matt Strahm is he does give up pop to the right-hand side of the plate, and that's where these Yankees bombers are, right? Gary Sanchez, Gleyber Torres, whoever it is in that lineup, batting from the right side, Luke Voigt, it's going to be bad. And the Yankees just don't strike out. So Matt Strahm at 8,500, I think he's a decent option. The odds are not out yet for this game. I think the Yankees should be favored here. 8,500 though, I'd rather go down and pay up at my bats, because Matt Strahm, his ceiling, what is it today against this Yankees team, depending on how deep he can go into these games? Like 6 innings and like 6 Ks. I don't want to pay 8,500 for that, especially when the downsides are negative fantasy points out of this guy. So yeah, I don't want to go to Matt Strahm. And now we're in the 8K range, right? We're below the 8K range with Yanni Chirinos coming in. A guy who might not go that deep into a game. Aaron Sanchez, who's been absolutely brutal against a team in Tampa Bay, who has a very good ISO, and Aaron Sanchez doesn't strike guys out. Where am I going right now, right? Felix Pena against Oakland. Don't want to really go there. Another team in Oakland that's not going to really strike out. I'm down to this range where Rick Porcello seems decent against Cleveland, a team that doesn't have too much pop, doesn't have too much ISO. Porcello, though, on the year has not been great really anywhere. Not getting ground balls, giving up fly balls, giving up home runs, walking guys, everything he's below average in, not striking guys out. So what are you getting out of Porcello here outside of a favorable matchup with Cleveland, who strikes out a decent amount on a low ISO? But again, he's cheaper, $7,300. But I'm really, really tempted to just bite the bullet and go all the way down. So on my sheet here, it's not pulling, I would say, correctly. The starting pitcher opener for the Yankees is Luis Cessa. They have this in. I pull this from Roto Grinders and some other sites, Chad Green. So you can kind of cancel that out. But just either way, Luis Cessa is coming in for an inning or two. And the guy who's going to be getting the increased run, and we have him, we can just look at DraftKings right here. The guy who's going to be the projected long reliever is Cortez Jr., who's been pitching well. Long relief, been pitching well. Now, been pitching around 4 innings. They're giving him around 70 to 75 pitches a game. And you can see this. Look, if he's $4,000, which you rarely see out of a pitcher, and again, it's a projected long reliever, so things can get a little bit wonky here. Maybe he doesn't come into the game at all. But you take your 12 to 13 points. That's a good game out of a guy coming in for 4 innings, and he's going to be eligible for the win upside, right? Once he comes into the game, as long as they're winning. So the downside for him is these past 2 games, he didn't get the win. So if you're telling me that he's getting you 12 to 13 points, because he has decent strikeout stuff, right? Averaging 5 Ks right around there for strikeouts out of his 3 starts. Again, it's only 10 innings, but still, that's pretty damn good. And if you're telling me that there's a potential that he comes in after 2 innings, he's now eligible for the win. He pitches into the 6th inning. He's getting you 12, 13 points just normally without the win. Now he gets the win, and he's at over 15 points for 4K. That's pretty good. So let's go back. Let's look at this a little bit more, because he's at 4K kind of screaming off the page for me for a guy to take a stand on. Now it's extremely risky here, right? Going up against a team that does have good ISO in a batter's ballpark in New York against this Padres team. We just saw them break a record with 7 or 8 home runs, but they do strike out a decent amount. And Cortez Jr. has been looking pretty good. So I'm very tempted to go Max Scherzer throw a dart with Cortez Jr. and then load up on my stacks. Again, it can go really wonky. He might not even come in. He's a projected long reliever. If he comes in, does he go 4 innings and give up 2 runs? And if he gives up those 2 runs, the amount of innings and the pure available ways for him to get those points back are very limited. And he could finish with 2-3 points for you, and now you're screwed. But if we can get him to do what he's been doing, which is 12 fantasy points on average without a win yet, just 12 fantasy points, that's really good. I take that in a heartbeat at 4,000, but it's just not guaranteed, right? Another guy down here in this range that I'm tempted to go to is Ivan Nova. He last time out got 12 fantasy points at 4,400 against Houston. Now he has another not that great matchup against the Royals, team that doesn't strike out as much, team with a high ISO, but that's exactly what he had last time out against Houston. And he's a guy who can go for -5 points. We've seen him go for like -10 points multiple times this year. I would much rather go Cortez Jr., who has a better chance of getting the win because Ivan Nova going 5 innings is not locked in. And his team, the White Sox, really out-dueling the Rangers today, is not locked in either. You can tell that. He's a slight favorite today, which is good, but it's really a pick-em here. So $4,800, I'm not sure I want to go to Ivan Nova over a guy like Cortez Jr. because I think they're very similar pitchers in that, Cortez Jr. is probably only going to pitch 4 innings to potentially 6 for Nova if he gets there. But in that time, Cortez Jr. is going to have more win upside, I would imagine, against San Diego. So that's where I'm at. Guys in that other range, Nick Kingman's just a starting pitcher. I believe nothing there. I don't want Jose Urena for Miami because I'm going to go with Max Scherzer. And on a big slate like this, I don't want the pitchers from the same team because I'm losing the upside for the win. Chad Green's just the opener. That's Luis Cessa. So picture Chad Green on my sheet as mainly a projected long reliever of Cortez Jr. Gabriel Yana, no real interest there. How long has he been going into games? That's something that I want to look at. He's a pitcher opener. That's what I thought. I was going to say, I don't really know who that is for the most part. He's a pitcher opener, and they haven't named a projected long reliever. So for Baltimore, there's really nobody that I have interest in there. Detroit, Daniel Norris at 6,900 is okay. Look, this is spots where you want to target against bad teams. Baltimore's ISO, they have been hitting well, but that's kind of inflated because they just played at Yankee Stadium and then Coors Field, two of the most friendly hitter ballparks. So although it's coming up, I would say it's really just balancing out when you consider and factor in the ballparks that they're playing in. So Daniel Norris, a guy who's been pitching okay this year, I mean, compared to what his price has been, compared to his skill set. If you're trying to compare it to everybody on the slate, he's bad, but we know that because of the price and where he is on this slate in the 7 or below 7K range. So 6,900 for Norris, I'm not opposed to getting to, but I think I just go all the way down. I really think that today's a slate where I go Scherzer and Cortez Jr. and just hope, because I feel confident in Scherzer, but just hope that Cortez Jr. gets into the game in like the 3rd inning and then pitches in the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th. Maybe he gets into the 7th, 4 1/3, 4 2/3. They give him some more pitches, and he can just do what he's been doing. Limit the damage, get 5Ks, and potentially have that win upside. And if a guy who's 4K gets you over 10 fantasy points, you take that and you run with it. So that's where I'm at right now. I think Ivan Nova's in play. I don't really want any Homer Bailey. I think that the fact that he is a favorite here, it's really a pick'em, -102 as of right now. He's a guy who walks a lot of batters. He's a guy who gets hit hard. That's why he also gives up home runs. Everything about him is really bad. It shows that he's been getting a little bit unlucky when you compare his Sierra to his ERA, which is usually good to see. But nothing really stands out for me for him. I mean, you're getting a team that doesn't have a lot of pop, and Chicago strikes out a good amount to pitcher's ballpark. So, sure, if you want to go down to Homer Bailey, you can. He's a guy who can get you 6, 7Ks, but the blow-up upside, I think, is much more there for him, and the win upside is not as much there as I do like for Cortez, who pretty much the Yankees just have to get him some insurance runs. He doesn't have to do much. He doesn't have to pitch 6 innings. Once he comes in for the starter, he's eligible for the win if they're up. So that's where I'm at. So let's just say a quick pitchers pool of guys that I would realistically want to play factored in price. Max Scherzer, and once I play him, Garrett Cole, Luis Castillo are pretty much out. And I have interest in Luis Castillo and Garrett Cole, or more so Luis Castillo in tournaments, but Max Scherzer is the main guy. I don't want any Bassett, don't want any Hamels, don't want any Greinke or John Gray or Strahm. I do like Porcello, so let's just say this. Max Scherzer, no ranking order, Max Scherzer, Porcello, some interest in Daniel Norris, some interest in your Ivan Novas and Homer Baileys, but more so Cortez. So the 3 guys I'll probably have the most of today as of right now, Max Scherzer, Rick Porcello, and Cortez Jr. That's it. That's the baseball. Let me know. Who are you going to have the most of today? Who do you like on that lower to mid end? Am I missing somebody in the mid-range that you think is a good play? Do you think that Felix Pena is a good play? Who is it? That's where I'm at. I'm tempted to go to the extremes, not in the middle. The higher guys, the lower end guys. See what we can do on Memorial Day, Binka contest. My name's Sal. Thank you so much for watching this. And again, head over to Chris's channel before you leave. It's the end of my video. You can go do it right now. Hit him with the subscribe. I would love to see this number hit 1,000 by the end of the day. I know we don't get a lot of views on these baseball videos, probably only a couple hundred, but if a couple hundred people go and subscribe, he gets to that. So thank you guys so much. Let's get him there. I appreciate it. Best of luck today. Have a wonderful Memorial Day. Great weather, hopefully, for you guys. Great food today, barbecue. Nothing better. Peace out, gang.